You're teed up for Golf News RI TV on CW Providence with your host Joe Calabro and his guests. We're talking everything golf around the region and on the tours. Now, here's your host, Joe Calabro.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of GolfNewsRI TV. I'm Joe Calabro, co-founder and CEO of GolfNewsRI. We're coming to you today from beautiful Warwick Country Club in front of one of the coolest par threes in the state. We're here in advance of the Rhode Island State Amateur. It starts on July 8th and goes to the 13th. So we'll get to that in a minute. First, we should acknowledge the U.S. Senior Open. I was there all week, and it's not over yet, actually. As of this taping, the Senior Open is actually going into a playoff. They had a Monday finish. As of this taping, the Senior Open is not actually over yet, amazingly enough. So we'll have, I'm sure you'll read the results on GolfNewsRI.com. It was a great week, though, with Billy Andrade and Brett Quigley. Unfortunate that they weren't in a little bit more contention after Billy's first round on Thursday. I was like, oh boy, here we go. But he couldn't keep it going. But it was a great week for them. And earlier in the week, as many of you know, Terry Francona, the former Red Sox manager, he was the honorary chairman of the Senior Open at Newport this year. And for 2024, the previous honorary chairman were actually Ed Cooley and Rodney Harrison, as I wrote about. But anyway, Terry Francona and Billy Andrade are close friends. They talked about that earlier in the week. Pretty cool clip, pretty cool stuff from the both of them. And so here's that for you, and we'll be right back after the video.
And about 8-9 years ago, there was a tournament in Orlando. I think it was called Diamond Resorts. This is back when the seniors played with guys like me. And I got paired with Billy the first day, and we were walking down the first fairway, and I grabbed Billy, and I go, hey, look. I go, this is what you do for a living. I said, if I get in your way, I said, and he looked at me, he goes, stop, because we're going to have fun.
Yeah, he's just a special person, dear to me. I've stayed at his house in Tucson the last few years for our tournament out there, the Cola Guard. He's just a gem. And when I found out that he was involved with it, being our chairman for this and being the host, it just brought a big smile on my face because I just love the man. Just love what he did with the Red Sox, to win and get the monkey off their backs. And, he's had an unbelievable Hall of Fame career. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but he will get in there. And I just love him. He's just the best.
There's a reason people gravitate towards Billy, and they want to have him like Major League Baseball because he treats people like you're supposed to, and makes you feel good. He's easy to root for.
All right, so that was Billy Andrade and Terry Francona talking about their relationship and their love for each other again. Some really cool stuff. Francona was great in his media availability on the Friday of the Senior Open, and obviously Billy, his media availability was on Wednesday. So both of them were great, really cool clip. And you can check out more coverage, or our complete coverage of the Senior Open if you want to go back and look on GolfNewsRI.com. So after that, we got through a 2-week stretch now of the Northeast Amateur and the Senior Open back-to-back. We're now going into the third leg of this crazy stretch of golf in Rhode Island. And that, of course, is the State Amateur here at Warwick Country Club. And to help break that down, we're joined by one of the GOATs, not just because he's wearing it on his shirt, of golf, Bobby Leopold, 4-time State Am champ. Bobby, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome, of course. So, going into a State Am, when this airs, it'll be the day before the State Am. What's your mindset? What's the state of your game like?
Mindset is, I try and take every week and try and enjoy it as much as I can. It's obviously a grueling week if you play well and get through every stage. But the older you get, the years that you've played in it and the ups and the downs of the game, you kind of know each week's a different, you don't know if you're going to have it or if you're not going to have it. Last year I had it and, was able to ride that all the way to winning it, which was great. This year I haven't played as much golf as I'd like, but, I just enjoying being out there, I think a lot more as I get older and as I have less time to really put towards it. I kind of enjoy being out, playing the game more, and, it's given me a lot. And, I'd love to obviously achieve more in the game, but I've also, gotten to a point in my life where I'm very happy with what I've done.
You talk about that, and you talk about everything you've achieved. Obviously, 4 state AM titles, numerous other championships, of course, as well. What keeps you going? Just the love to compete, the love of golf.
Yeah.
What kind of keeps that fire going?
Competitive juices for sure. If I didn't play in competitive golf events, I'd have to find something else to do to compete. So it's really just, for me, I enjoy the guys we play with. The RIGA does a phenomenal job getting us out on great courses. I mean, we're spoiled here in Rhode Island, as you can see behind us. It's pretty spectacular what we get to. It doesn't
suck, folks. It doesn't suck.
What we get to be at. So it's an enjoyment factor. It's also stressful at the same time, which I don't know. I enjoy that.
Now, last year the State Am was at Montauk, and you kind of rolled through the tournament. You won the stroke play portion. You kind of rolled through the match play. You won the championship with relative ease over our guy Harry Dessel. When you look back on that, and you look back on your other titles, what do you take experiences from that and carry it on, or how do you look back at your 4 titles?
Yeah, I mean, that last year I remember that more probably than the others. I think like I was talking about, you get older and you start to appreciate it more. When I first played in the RIJ, when I started in 2009, when I won it at Crestwood, I didn't really know what it meant to win the state amateur and what it came with and who you'd beat and everything like that. Now, what are we, 15, 16 years on from that, I know how hard it is, and it's really, it's just a great achievement to win the state amateur and beat those guys. So, I have appreciation for what I did. I enjoyed it, and you just know at every turn it could go another way. So
now, as you said, you haven't played as much as you wanted to so far this year. You're the coach of Hendrick, so that's probably part of it. But you did go down to Florida. You did play the Northeast Am a couple weeks ago to kick off this crazy stretch. What do you take from those outings? Even though they maybe weren't the finishes that you wanted, but do you take things from those outings to go forward?
Yeah, I mean, the Northeast's obviously now become one of the pinnacles of amateur golf. It's hosted by my home club, Wannamoyset, and I think that's added pressure. So to be able to, the first round I didn't play great, but the other 2 I played pretty well. So to take those 2 rounds and really achieve something and do well in those 2 rounds, like, it gives me something to build off for next week. And when I'm under pressure, pull on some of those shots that I hit under the gun and make some of the putts that I did. So every tournament you play in is a learning experience, and it's just a case of how you use those moments down the road. And if you can draw on that memory, you've got to be a goldfish in golf, but at the same time, recalling those memories is huge.
Yeah, and then this State Am is bigger than the other one. Well, a little bit bigger than the other one, so you have higher stakes with a chance to go to the US Am, and we'll get to that. We'll get to more of Bobby's game and how he would play the 9th hole when we come back on GolfNewsRI TV.
Now back to GolfNewsRI TV with your host, Joe Calabro, and today's guest. Special thanks to our sponsors, Providence Performing Arts Center and 4 Evergreen Turf Management.
And welcome back to GolfNewsRI TV. I'm Joe Calabro. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and also thanks to all of our sponsors and followers for making this show possible. If you missed any of the previous shows, you can find them all on the GolfNewsRI website. Just click on the GolfNewsRI TV tab. We've had some good ones with Charlie Blanchard, Ed Kirby. We had Dave Adamonis, of course, and others. So we're going to continue to try to build this show up and make it must-watch TV for golf fans in Rhode Island and in the region. So thank you to everybody for the support. We're here at Warwick Country Club, beautiful Warwick Country Club, in advance of the State Amateur, which is July 8th to the 13th. 2 rounds of stroke play. Then we switch over to match play. You're joined by Bobby Leopold, 4-time State Am champ. I always ask people this question, and they probably are sick of it. Switching over from stroke play to match play, does your mindset change, or for you, are you I'm just going to play my game, and if this kid can keep up with me, then so be it?
No, I think it definitely frees you up a little bit. You start off stroke play and you might be a little bit tighter or more conservative at times. Match play gives you the opportunity to kind of let the guard off a little bit and try and hit some shots that, put some pressure on your opponent. And, I always try and say to myself, it's easier said than done, but, match play is so important that you play the course, not who you're playing against. You can see your opponent hit a bad shot and then all of a sudden be like, get a little bit looser, and then you hit a bad shot, and it's like you're just giving it away. So, and anyone can chip in. I've seen it numerous times where you think you've got them and then you don't. So you can never take anything for granted when you're playing match play, and it's important to kind of play your own game, play the course, and then go from there.
I like match play because I stink, but I like match play because if I make an 8 on a hole, I can just pick up, and it's just one hole. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't carry over to the next hole. So
definitely plays into it.
Is that what you mean by it frees you up?
Yeah, I mean, if you hit a bad shot, there's a couple holes out here where you can hit a bad shot, and all of a sudden you're re-teeing. In match play, if you do that, it's like, well, let's just go to the next hole.
Yeah.
So,
I love match play. It's great. Some people like the stroke play better. I get that too, but I like match play. So this State Am, it has a little bit of higher stakes. Now, I don't know if you remember this. A couple years ago, you came on my podcast. It was our first full year as like a company, I guess. So we started in April 2020, but I kind of stayed in the background for that first half year and kind of learned and tried to understand kind of the local scene. But anyway, so you came on my podcast. You did it from your office, and I at the time a big thing was WAGR and how World Amateur Golf Rankings, and how top players or top amateurs weren't coming back or weren't staying home to play their state amateur.
right.
We had, Davis Chatfield and Patrick Welch. They never really came back to play because they would lose points. And Andrew O'Leary is in that category as well. But now they're all pros, so it doesn't matter. But and I asked you about it. It was a big deal at the time. And since then, WAGR has sort of adjusted their point system. I don't know if it's helped a lot, but they have adjusted it since. But at the time, you said that what they should do is that every State Am winner should get a bid to the US Am. Now, I don't know if you had inside information or what.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
or what, but you did say that. You did call it again, you probably had inside information. And now that is the case this year. The winner of the Rhode Island Amateur gets a bid to the US Am. How does that, maybe not for you because you've been there, done that, but how much extra incentive is that for this tournament? How big of a deal is that, really?
Yeah, so I'm not going to take credit for the whole, USAM bid for.
Well, you did call it.
Yeah, but we'd obviously talked about it over the years with numerous people. And one of the guys actually who started Scratch Players, I believe, he passed away a few years ago. But one of his things was make a week of the year where it's State Amateur Golf and everyone plays, and then the winners of each State Am obviously go to the USM, because then you've got truly, I guess you could say, a stronger field, right? Or at least you've earned your way there.
Correct.
But now that they've done that, this has become, a good opportunity for those players who, when I played Andrew O'Leary in the finals a few years ago at Kirkbride, his coach told him not to play in the State Amateur because he would go down in WAGR. Right? That was just the nature of the beast. Now, if your coach tells you not to play in your State Am, it's like, well, coach, I want to play in my State Am because if I win, I can go to the USM. So, the USM's the biggest tournament you'll ever play in as an amateur. It's become a huge spectacle now. I mean, there's tour trucks there. It's the real deal. I mean, they know that 30% of that field's probably going to turn pro, within a couple of years of playing the USM.
Years, couple months.
Yeah, I mean, some of them it's like the day after, So when you go there, you are playing the best of the best, and the USGA does a phenomenal job running golf tournaments. And I've been fortunate to play in 5 USAMs, which every single one of them I remember, like it was yesterday. They've been great experiences, and to have, that opportunity on the line to, there's definitely probably more pressure once it comes to the final match. There's in the back of your mind, hey, if I win, I get to go straight to the USM. That's a great ticket to have, and hopefully we'll get more Patrick Welch's and Davis Chatfields down the line, and Andrew O'Leary's that instead of skipping State Ams, come and play against them, and you can give them your best, and if you beat someone like Davis, you can hold that a feather in your cap and be like, hey, when he's on tour, you can be like, I beat Davis Chatfield, so it'll be pretty neat, and it's great to see.
And there will be guys, not necessarily, or maybe you, but guys like you who will look at this opportunity and say, hey, I might have a better chance of getting to the USAM through winning my State Am, because they know that you guys all know you're really good. You won't say it, but you know it. Then going to a one-day qualifier shootout and trying to win that way. That's going to be a mindset for some of these guys, especially of your caliber, where you're looking at it and saying, I have a great chance to get to the USM if I win my state title.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody else, but that's going to be a thought.
No, it definitely is. but we're lucky in Rhode Island and in New England. The New England Amateur also count towards that as well. So, if you play well in the State Am and you kind of come up short, it's like, well, the following week, usually after your State Am, is the New England Amateur, and the New England Amateur champion, I believe, is going to get a bid to the U.S. Amateur too. So, we're lucky. It's New England Am, State Am, and then you can obviously get through the qualifiers as well. So there's numerous chances now, whereas before the US Am was the hardest tournament to qualify for by far, because it was 2 rounds. You're playing against the best of the best, and it's usually 2 or 3 spots out of like 85 guys. And you have to have your game that day.
Absolutely. We have a minute left of this segment, so I want to start getting into the course. We'll get into this hole behind us in the next segment, but just this course in general for State Am. I'm not sure when the last time they hosted was. I'm sure they've hosted at some point before. But what do you think this course is going to put? Like, obviously, the wind is going to be a factor, especially down here. But what do you think this course is going to be like for the State Am?
Wind's always a factor. The rough, I assume, is probably going to be up. It's been pretty, wet and green here. The sun's been out, and then it's been rain. So this course plays hard. I mean, it's a tough test, and it'll be interesting to see where the scores lie. But with the wind and everything, this will play hard.
All right, so on the next segment, we're going to talk about this beautiful hole. I think it's one of the coolest par 3s in the state. We'll get Bobby's take on that. We'll also get his take on the state of golf in Rhode Island and much more. This is GolfNewsRI TV. I'm Joe Calabro. Stay tuned.
Now back to GolfNewsRI TV with your host, Joe Calabro, and today's guest. Special thanks to our sponsors, Imagine Gift Store and Schoolhouse Apartments.
And welcome back to GolfNewsRI TV. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in and tuning into the shows throughout the last few weeks. It's certainly been a busy time, a crazy time in golf, but we're happy to make it to the last leg of this stretch with it, which is the Rhode Island State Amateur right here at Warwick Country Club. This hole behind us, I think it's a cool par 3. I know some people hate it. I was at a bar the other day. I don't know who the kid was. I honestly don't know who the kid was. But he was talking about how he played a practice round. He was talking about all the problems that the 9th hole presented with the wind. It's like the best case scenario when I end up in the bunker. And I honestly don't know who the kid was. I'm not trying to like throw him under the bus. I don't know. I didn't recognize him. Even my wife was like, "Who's that?" I have no idea. But anyway, this 9th hole, I think it's a cool hole. What are the challenges that this hole presents?
A lot of challenges. I mean, obviously I coach Hendricken, and This is where our home course, right? So I've seen everything on this hole. I've seen great shots. I've seen terrible shots, so I know kind of where you should and shouldn't hit it. But the wind switches, usually it plays, pretty prevailing. But the green's tricky. Like, even when you get to the green, like, honestly, if I could hit it where the flag is today, if I could hit it to the front fringe every time, I would. That's kind of like the perfect spot for that hole location. The back hole location creates some difficulty, right? Because if you're over the green, I mean, good luck, because most of the time that's going to be a downwind shot coming back, and very difficult to get up and down. So this is a typical Donald Ross golf course. So being in front of it, keeping it in front of you is going to be key for the week, and especially on a hole like this. I mean, I'd rather be in that front right bunker to a back hole location than over the green. So it's a challenge. It's a good hole.
It's funny. I come here to cover your Hendricken Invitational, obviously support the kids and support you and just junior golf in general. And they're literally, like you said, they're literally all over the place. Mm-hmm. Some of them, they hit over the back and they try to putt back up. Yeah. And that sometimes doesn't work. One kid from Cranston West, he hit an amazing flop shot. It was one of the greatest shots. You were there. It was one of the greatest shots I've ever seen. He didn't make it. I thought it was going in. It would have been great if I had the video rolling, but it was one of the greatest shots I've ever seen. So you can see all kinds of things, and especially, like you said, when the pin's in the back.
Yeah,
pins in the front, I feel like is a little bit easier because you can play to the fringe. Mm-hmm. When they put the pin in the back, which I'm sure it will be, the tees will be back. I don't know how far back the tees stretch
out pretty good. And then if the wind's like this, I mean, it's tough.
So what are you hitting here today with the wind? The wind is blowing, but it's not anything crazy.
I mean, if the tee's all the way back, I think it's 170 yards from the back of that box into the wind. You're probably looking at a 180 shot today, so probably a 6-iron. It's not a big green when you're hitting 6-iron in there, so it's a good one.
And if you're coming to the stadium, this is a really cool spot to watch. To have all the tons of room that you can see, green there, tees over there. So this is a cool spot to be, and I certainly think during match play, I think this hole could really be, it's a long match, 18-hole match. So I don't want to say it's a turning point, but it certainly could be a pivot point in a match, depending on what happens. So I think it's one of the coolest holes in the state, one of the coolest par 3s in the state. Of course, I don't have to play it, so that's probably why. That's part of the reason. So that's that whole state of golf in general in Rhode Island. Obviously, we're on a roll. It feels like I asked everybody this question over and over again because I'm interested in it. It feels like we're in a good spot.
I think so. I mean, we're fortunate. We've got a lot of really good players in the state of Rhode Island, which, we're a small state, so we don't have the ability like Massachusetts does to pull from all different, east, west, north, south. I mean, it's pretty much what you see is what you get in Rhode Island. I always say we've probably got 10 of the best players. We might not have the depth, but we have some really, really strong individuals that, can shoot great numbers any day of the week and can contend any day of the week. Qualifying for U.S. amateurs, playing in national tournaments, so now qualifying for those. I mean, it's really good to see, and exciting to see what the future holds in terms of junior golf, because I know there's some good juniors coming up too.
Absolutely, and you see them in high school, Drew McLeod and Rocco Calabro, and obviously Max is moving on to college, but he'll be a factor locally for a while. So, Bobby, listen, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your continued support of GolfNewsRI from the beginning. It's been huge for me, huge for the company. So thank you, and good luck in the State Am. I'll see you here.
Thanks for having me.
The Rhode Island State Amateur is July 8th to the 13th. 2 rounds of stroke play, followed by match play the rest of the week. This has been GolfNewsRI TV. I'm Joe Calabro, and we'll talk to you next time.
You've been watching GolfRI TV on CW Providence.